at Moshi was an implied hostility to the freedom fighters. The hostility emanated chiefly from people who suffered inferiority complexes because of their own lack of contribution to the cause of fighting Amin's criminal regime. Therefore, Museveni continues, to some of us, it was not surprising that soon after its formation, UNLF experienced upheavals in its ranks. The situation that was created was bound to cause problems in the future. At Moshi were the seeds for its eventual disintegration, unquote. The charge of inferiority complexes was neither subtle nor founded. Museveni accused the Nabuderes and Rugumayos for supporting Amin's regime soon after the coup, which developed into an inferiority complex and perhaps even resentment against those who had opposed Amin from the beginning. This explains their uncooperative behavior, Museveni points out, towards Fronasa during the UNLF days. However, Museveni is here being dishonest, as usual. Soon after Amin's coup d'etat, Museveni was in contact with Nabuderes and Rugumayos. He was infiltrating Amin's regime through them. And yet, later on, he was publicly accusing them of having an inferiority complex. Moreover, both Nabudere and Rugumayo soon abandoned Amin's regime and sought refuge in Tanzania, just like Museveni himself had done. It is not surprising that Museveni's strategy to capture power many years later was formulated during the war against Amin. For example, Museveni argued, quote, "My position was that I did not see why Tanzanians should continue to fight all the way to Kampala. They had formed a spearhead and they had taken revenge for Amin's invasion of their country. The rest of the work should have been left to Ugandans. This was a point I raised in several fora. It made me very unpopular with the Tanzanians and led to our isolation at the conference. Thus, we had a situation whereby the Tanzanians were very friendly with the armchair revolutionaries who were pampering the egos of TPDF commanders. I thought all of this was very dangerous for our country." And close quotes. That's Museveni. That's the cunning fox writing and sowing the mustard seed. There is no doubt that the intensive recruitment which swelled the ranks and file of Fronaswa between February 79 and April 79, especially concentrated in western Uganda, was the basis of Museveni's confidence to get rid of TPDF, Tanzania People's Defense Force, so that he would dominate the post-Amin political and military process in Uganda. In fact, such a recruitment of armed forces from the same region of the country is what Museveni had condemned about the colonial relic of the Ugandan army being sectarian, but Museveni was busy, apparently gladly practicing the same sectarianism during the liberation war against Amen. Certainly, Museveni could not have recruited Acholis and Langis in Mbarara between February and April 79 at a period when war was intense and restricted to southern Uganda. During that short period, Fronasa grew ninefold. Museveni he has never explained or justified his equally condemnable military sectarianism. Museveni's comments about Moshi conference are also very revealing in light of his oppressive political behavior after overthrowing Tito Okello in 1986. Museveni does not respect the basic principles of democracy that require protection of political freedom. Also revealing is the origin of the concept of broad-based government, which is mistakenly attributed to Museveni, who has illegitimately claimed its authorship. It is clear that Museveni stole the idea of broad-based NRM from a broad-based government UNRF formed in Moshi against his protest, since he had different criteria for legitimacy in liberation wars. In a rather contradictory way, UNRF formed according to criteria of liberation suggested by Museveni would not have been broad-based. And Museveni acknowledged this with a slight twist. Quote, "The idea of the UNLF was not a bad one, but it was the idea of a broad-based united front that I had worked for since 1971 and which later crystallized into NRM. But UNLF was fraudulently constituted, and that was its Achilles heel." Unquote. That is the Fox Museveni writing. The suggestion that Museveni originated the idea of broad-based government in 1971 is ridiculous. In fact, Museveni used the idea of broad-based government not to promote national unity, but because it suited his political objectives of suppressing political freedom. Under broad-based government, Museveni had the opportunity to control all the political activities of all his opponents. Second, Museveni could neither manage nor build a viable force in Fronasa, as we have seen until Amin's invasion of Tanzania in 1978. Museveni accuses others of opportunism, but he appears to be one of the shrewdest opportunists Uganda has ever produced. This is clear when we traced the fortunes of Fronasa as we have done. In fact, when we look at the political circumstances under which UPM was created and then strategically abandoned during the war between 1981 and 86, we shall further understand and explain Museveni's opportunistic politics and strategies. I think my time has expired, and I'll stop here and continue the conversation next week to conclude this particular aspect of looking at Museveni's political behavior, inconsistency, invalid theories, ambiguous ideologies, and the politics that combination produces. Thank you for listening, and tune in next week.